What is going on, everybody, man? Welcome back to Barber's Roundtable Podcast. This is episode 7 with Joel and Maya here with Barber Bond, and we are going to get into how Barber Bond came to be with these two amazing people. They are a couple, they are a unit, and they are business partners. So let's get right into this, man. First of all, I want to say thank you to you, Joel and Maya, for being here on the podcast. And I want to hear a little bit about this story on how Barber Bond came to be and where it all started from.
First, thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man. It's a pleasure.
It's major anytime somebody wants to hear what's going down, how it even came to be. And it's kind of a long story. I mean,
so how long have you yourself been in the beauty industry?
Officially since 2007.
Okay. Officially mean licensed?
Yes.
Okay.
Officially since 2007. And altogether since 2007. Prior to that, I just didn't have the nerve to jump into shops where a lot of homies were at and didn't necessarily have their papes. A lot of incredible barbers.
Right.
A lot of them who knew about great customer service. Just, for each their own reasons. Some of them never took the long, high road of really going about it because they didn't know if that was going to be their life.
Okay.
It was something they fell into when young.
Right.
And it was going good. And, hey, Joel, man, I know you cut.
It's kind of like a hustle, like where everybody usually starts in this industry. It starts almost like a hustle, and then
so
it
many
becomes
find out
else.
Like in high school that you could cut hair well enough for the boys to pay you.
Right.
And then you ran with it.
And when the money starts coming in, it's hard to separate yourself to make a new investment in yourself to get those papers.
What about your background, Maya? Before you and Joel started Barber Bond, what was your background in?
I did various corporate jobs.
Okay.
I've always started as a student. Then I would become a master in terms of sales in the industry that I was in. And then I'd become a teacher and then a leader. So I've gone from corporate, from beginning positions to growing in industries of proprietary education, temporary healthcare staffing, and even the roofing industry.
Wow. And so Barber Bond is inception. When did Barber Bond first came to your head that you said, there's a need for my product?
I think it was first her saying, like, what do you see in your industry? Where could you do something that's not behind the chair that you can add value to the industry? And the first thing I thought to me was in the shave department.
Okay. So this basically started with you. Now let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
By any chance, did you end up using his shave cream or something on yourself, and it just like...
No.
Okay.
It never started that way. And I have to give credit to us first breaking away from Joel working in standard barbershops and coming into our own, because I think growth in business and in creativity, it kind of emerged from him being able to be independent in the shop setting. So I was always in the background doing administrative anything for the shop, making sure that it was good to be able to be an establishment where Joel did that, day-to-day operations. And I worked in corporate. So in developing something new, that took time away from our day-to-day.
Right.
And not to mention, we did have children. So
it's always hard when you got kids.
Yeah, but I'm saying they were really small at that time. So for us to really start thinking creatively and investing in ourselves, it gets kind of scary. So
before you started Barber Bond, you had your own space first? Or did both things kind of come together all at once?
I incorporated the name in 2008 because every barber should incorporate themselves as a business to do things the right way.
Right.
I'm not a financial advisor or a tax consultant.
But it's an important thing and I'm kind of glad that you brought it up, because a lot of barbers aren't incorporated, don't even have at least a minimum of an LLC or anything like that. So
Right.
that is important that you actually brought that point up.
And this is why, after years of working in West Boca, when I saw the opportunity in my old storefront about 100 yards down the road from here, I could literally throw a stone, throw a football to the other plaza.
But we incorporated at first All-Star Barber Inc. And that was a service that we said, we come to you. Oh. And even while he was at the other barber shop, in my experience, people were adopting highways. And we have that picture over there if you see it. And maybe you take a picture of it later. But you see All-Star Barber Inc., we come to you. It was his effort in doing, home
that
or
was
house
just
calls.
that work outside the shop.
So you were basically kind of doing the house calls.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where the house calls started, to build towards the dream. This is money that I'm not making while I'm at the shop.
Right.
So this is money for that other thing. And I really wasn't looking at the time, but I was still pitching to...
Right. You were actually putting actions behind that dream that you had.
Well, I was going to assisted living facilities.
Nice.
With tailored proposals to each facility, and I was offering my services for normal shop prices if the facility could just line me up 10 heads.
That's smart.
I'm not there to stick it.
That's a different lane that a lot of people would
to
never.
Anybody, because they're seniors and they're on fixed incomes that someone else is managing.
Right.
You're not here to do $100 haircuts in assisted living.
Right. You're just taking care of the abuelos and abuelas of the world.
That's right. In a captive audience. So it's worth my while to drive out to one place
and it makes
for
you feel
10
good
heads
too.
at the normal price. Yeah.
How much do you learn from their experiences too, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Maybe I went a little too hard because I was coming with a blazer and a tie and a nice shirt, and I think they took me for someone that the gatekeepers needed to keep away. So I never really get that right person, because I might have been state, or I could have been anybody. I was dressed too nice.
And it was before the beard. He had a
and
nice
before the beard,
cut.
though.
Right.
Clean shave, maybe a goatee or a chin strap to keep it minimal, but I was trying to be presentable and get in.
So after you guys incorporated the All-Star Barber, when did you open your first shop down the street?
2011.
2011.
Because I was going to an assisted living right down the road here, and I saw that an old barbershop that was put there when I was in 10th or 11th grade.
Oh, wow.
This shop was now gone. And I thought, hey, I wonder how doable is it in the old neighborhood, because this is where I grew up.
Okay.
And it was very doable. So I came home that night and said, hey, guess what? We about to jump.
Nice. Now, after you guys opened up the shop, you had probably people working in there and everything. When did you start actually working on Barber Bond? And what made you want to create another shave serum, which is what you have, compared to what was already out on the market? What made you think about that aspect of what we need for shaving?
One night I was out and about, and she hit me with a text and an image of, hey, what do you think of this for a logo for the stuff we've been talking about? No actual product in development or nothing.
Another part of the dream.
But I liked what she was thinking and saying, and I took it from there and added something to it, and then we gave it to a graphic designer buddy who really turned it into what a lot of people like, our logo.
Before that, I was like, I'm gonna go buy the domain right now.
Right? Yeah.
Well, that's perfect.
I think it was that evening. She said, you know what? I'm gonna buy the domain right now. And
so Barber Bond, the lady is actually the one that is behind Barber Bond. For those of you to know, it's not just for barbers, ladies. This is also for you. It's a unisex product that you guys made.
Yeah.
I have used it, and I actually do like it. My barbers have used it. They like it. And now I'm getting my wife to actually use it, and she likes it.
How that happened.
Off of one bottle that you... So the first time that I tried it was the first time that I met you guys at a top-notch expo. Was the first time that I ever even seen Barber Bond. And you guys gave me, it was a small little bottle to try out. and it was good. Yeah, not just because we're here talking about it, and I'm not gassing you up or nothing, but I have tried a lot of shave products because I do a lot of shaves.
Mm-hmm. So I tried taking home products from the shop, others that we've used in the shops. We know what they are. Right. And I tried to take those home to shave my head like the home consumer with a Gillette, with a Bic, a disposable razor. Right. And you could not do that with the brands we use in the barbershops.
Okay. Now, why couldn't you use those products?
They were too thick. They weren't viscous enough. They're only good for a straight razor in the barbershop setting. Right. That's who they were thinking of when they created them.
So a regular consumer.
But I was thinking about the guy who sits in my chair and comes back. You know him. Yo, Truth. Me jodí la barba. Look what I did to my goatee. Can you fix it? Right. But if they could see what they're doing, just like we can at the shop, then maybe they wouldn't screw it up, and then we get to maintain it, not recreate it every time they come back.
Okay. Now, so you guys have everything incorporated. You bought the domain and still have no product. Where was the first formula of your product created? Was it created in your kitchen?
Between the kitchen and bathroom and a food processor, and it looked like you don't want to know, but it felt great.
A good science project?
Yeah. It looked like a mudslide.
Okay. Now, when you were creating this product, what was your ultimate goal in the product? Did you think about what kind of ingredients? What was your thought process while you guys were going through this?
I think for Joel, because I was listening to his feedback when he was eventually testing with his clients in the shop, which was the best testing ground for us. Right. It was a lot of the viscosity. He felt like there's something about the product that we have that has an elasticity to it, that when you're shaving, that glides, that doesn't leave you burned or doesn't leave you like it doesn't stop it or get stuck when you're shaving. It glides very nicely. So I think that was his goal in the whole scheme of things. Okay. In the performance, and then we found out other things along the way when we really got into it.
Okay, so you guys had your first trial run. How were you trying to market that first trial run? People.
If I could speak to this, you talk about us being women run. Right. We are certified SBA woman-owned
business.
Woman-owned business.
Clap it up for that.
Yes, thank you.
Congratulations.
So behind everything, making sure that all of the website, the having all of the necessary branding, and we're not marketing experts. We're just two individuals, regular people, who thought, how could we make something that people could benefit from that's different than what's out there right now?
Right, you're making a difference in a product.
Right, and so when we went into it, it was more, wow, we were able to create something, label it, brand it, bottle it. We didn't realize now we were in the logistics and marketing commerce business.
When I found out, a real product needs a real SKU. Where the hell do SKUs come from? I had to figure that out between haircuts and sit at the front desk with the computer open and figured out and made our first barcode while I was at the shop.
I'm really about to say something, and I'm super happy to know that it's a woman-owned and ran product, because of my mother is why I got into the barber business. So I have respect, and a lot of women don't get that respect in business and even in our industry, so I applaud you guys for that, because it's very important that we also support our women-run businesses as much as we do our guys. So I just wanted to say that I'm even more excited to even use the product now.
Thank you.
Just to know that,
And also, you never know who's in the background.
Right.
You never know who, there's always someone who is the face. And maybe for me,
you chose this face to put on. Ah, man.
And it's funny because, you know, when I'm involved in posting on social media, usually we get a lot of attention. But I'm so used to being in the background doing things behind the scenes that I wasn't used to having to market myself as much as, you know, we're trying to market our product, and more of the benefits, the differentiation of it, how people won't be irritated, how there's only 13 ingredients. Go ahead.
Now that you're speaking about the ingredients, so after your science project at home, kitchen, the bathtub, everything, where did you guys have to do to get to where the product is today, right? Like, what channels did you guys take to get those 13 ingredients that you're talking about?
Well, we didn't have anyone to ask, and I knocked on a lot of doors.
Really?
Because I'm the one who's out here in the industry. Like we're pinky in the brain.
And what happened when you knocked on those doors?
In the industry, it took a while. It was a couple years of getting frustrated and starting to feel like, you know what? Even if you want to find a lab to pay to create what you need, like, it's like someone has to pull you in the door. So I'm about to just put my arms up in the air and let the universe unfold as it should. But I tried a few more, and I found the right one. And at that point, it was me and my container. And I said, look, this works incredible. I love how it feels. I hate how it looks. I need you to create, I need your lab techs to make for me something that feels like this, but is absolutely clear like water.
So that you guys end up sitting down with like a chemist to go over ingredients, ingredient properties, benefits.
This is what this does, and this is what that does. And, you know, honestly, well, we're just a working couple. And I said, hey, I was thinking, I probably don't want to come out with any cents, right? Because how much more of an investment do I got to roll out for 4 cents to appease to men, women, different kind of guy, this, that. I was thinking unscented. Well, unscented said, oh, really? Well, see, these ingredients, these types, these are the ones that can now be omitted because it was about 11, 12 more ingredients just to add a scent. Just to make something smell fly, 11, 12, 13 more things that are not necessary. And if your skin is more porous and absorbent than your tongue, well, I put them in my mouth first.
And that's the thing sometimes too with like products, because, you know, the scent could really mess with somebody. Somebody could be allergic to some sort of ingredient that was put in there for the scent. So that's a good thing that it is unscented. But it feels good to the skin. Now, how many times after you sat down with these people did you guys go over until you said, that's it? How long did that process take?
About 20 to 30 different samples.
Over
about a year and a half.
Wow.
Well, I was working corporate. We were raising kids. I mean, and then this was our side hustle.
So you guys were coming home.
This is what we're trying to bring to life. Nothing that anybody sees yet. So it's doing what you can when you can with the time you're given.
How many times y'all got frustrated with each other in the process?
Listen, you better be ready to feel like you want to cry. You better be ready to scream. You better be ready to be mad. You better be ready to possibly bleed a little. Like, you'll have emotions brought out of you that you didn't know were there.
Wow.
Because you just might care so much about bringing something to life and making your mark.
That's amazing. Now, so all in all, it took you guys about 3-4 years to actually put this out on them, to have something in hand. Not even put out in the market yet, just to have it in hand.
Have it in hand was finally, that was May 17, 18, 19 of 2018.
Wow.
Was the first time having in hand.
We had a production run.
And then a couple weeks later, I said, you know what? I guess I better start checking out these shows, right? So I went to Premiere Orlando for the first time with a backpack full of 60 pounds that I made ounce bottles.
Wow. So your background is in business solutions. So some of your ideas and his together.
It's only
to push the brand.
Through my evolution, I started to realize that I was building skills in different realms that eventually, came to life as we were growing over the years. And one of the talents that I have is taking a visionary's vision and bringing it to action. And that's been true in a lot of the work that I've done with business owners. I would be in a leadership role and I've had ideas, and I would be able to take what they would like to make happen and execute on it or communicate it effectively. And so that's what I'm doing now. I left corporate about a year and a half ago. And I'm doing my own thing, working with businesses, establishing our business, getting Barber Bond more distribution opportunities and things like that.
That is amazing. So you're still grinding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing to see two partners kind of have the same goal. And it's a big deal when you're in corporate and you leave that for your own dream. You know what I mean? And I think you guys make like a good combo because, like he said, Pinky and the brain. You got the brain. He's definitely Pinky.
Obviously.
But hey. That and that's a beautiful thing because we don't see this a lot. We don't see couples actually, working together toward a bigger goal and and leaving something for our children, and you guys' legacy. Your kids, I'm sure, are looking at you guys now, not realizing what is really going on, but later on they will be like, "Wow, mom and dad were really just hustling out here."
Yeah, in the beginning we almost stalled on building a family because it was like, well, we both trying to be somebody, right?
Right.
So don't we want to work on that so we have more to offer each other instead of, well, the hell with it. Let's just build a table right now.
Hey.
Instead of worrying about what to bring, you got to have a table first.
No, that's awesome. All right, so 2018, you said 17,
was
18,
finally something in hand.
With the company you guys went to, were they the same company that actually produced it, bottled it?
They were the last one. I found along the way a lot of cosmetic manufacturers were not only trying to take your money to create what you need, but they also want to own your intellectual property.
Okay.
And this didn't make sense for me.
All right.
Not one bit.
Basically, you came up with the ideas and everything, and they just wanted to basically have that license to
we want
your intellectual
own
property.
The idea because we can bring it to life for you.
Wow.
Now, wait a minute.
That's pretty cutthroat.
So what's my discount? What's my discount if I've got a partner I wasn't looking for?
Or where's the money that you're going to pay me for this idea?
Because I'm going to be the one in the street working it.
Right.
Shaking babies and kissing hands.
Now, question, since you said that, with the company that's actually manufacturing this, do you have some sort of contract with them that your ingredients, the way it's made and everything is strictly confidential to your company only?
Yes.
Okay. That's very important because, if you don't have those things in place, they could sell that to somebody else.
When I decided, hey, this is the one I think we need to go with for these reasons, we then found out later how many more major companies they make product for. And I was happy about that because I didn't know that to factor it in my decision.
And is being manufactured here in the States or out of the country? In the States.
In the States. That was important to me too, for what it's worth.
Now, what are the ingredients that are in your product? Do you guys know that offhand?
I mean, they're on the bottle.
Okay.
But they're mostly water-based. There's castor oil in it, which has many health benefits. I mean, everything's in a low concentration, so it's not like, you in any little pump of shave serum you're getting.
Well, the reason I ask is because, like, I enjoy products, right? And I always look at the ingredients, and sometimes I find myself Googling the ingredients to see if there's any types of benefits for the hair or skin of my clients. If there isn't, don't want to use it, right? Mm-hmm. Because I'll be honest with y'all, like I've thought about a product line, but just never got around to it. You know what I mean? Because it is a lot of work. You know what I mean?
It's more than we knew. We wasn't ready.
It was just the beginning. Once it was bottled, that was just the beginning. And just to also know, you know, a lot of these manufacturers, if you see a lot of people in the beauty industry putting out product quickly, they have a shampoo line, they have a mask, they have a gel, the white label everything, companies. Those white label companies. And so all they know is that they can smack their name on something, and not to discredit it. It's just there's not as much involvement because yes, it's yours because you bought it, but what differentiates it from anything else?
Yeah, because basically I could go to the same white label, have the same product just with my name on it. Right. So yeah, we're selling our own brand, but what's inside, it's all the same. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like when you go to the grocery store, to the cereal aisle, you know, you got your Kellogg's and then you got the off-name brand. But if you sometimes read who makes that off-brand, it's still Kellogg's. You know, they just brand it differently at a lower price point.
And that's why a marketing thing.
Yeah, and that's why that grocery store brand is right next to that Kellogg's, because it's made by the same.
So you guys made sure that you set yourself apart with this product.
Well, I think what really sets us apart was she got out of the shower one day and said, "Why didn't you tell me I could use it?"
Oh, really?
I said, "Well, huh?"
So you were dumbfounded?
A little bit, yeah. I said, "Wait a minute. What have you been using?" Because now it clicked. I've never seen a bottle of Skin to Mitt or not even Barbasol, because I don't use that. And she said, "Yeah, well, I had used those products once upon a time, but then I tried my stepfather's one day and it didn't feel any different, and that was 99-cent Barbasol." So she started using that. But then the family moved to Florida and she stayed in New York in college. So she didn't want to buy that. She just started using soap.
Yeah, and it would dry me out. I'd put lotion on after the shave and call it a day. But then now, I mean, my daughter's 15 years old. She started shaving at the age of 11, and all she knows is Barber Bond and all the benefits.
Right, so she don't know nothing about the Venus and all that other good stuff from Walgreens, huh?
Is it how many ingredients does it take to make those things smell like they for a woman when a man could use them? Because I used to steal my sister's.
Do they dry you out? How do they make you feel after the shave?
And that's
all the smell included.
So there was one particular like shave gel that I used that sold in the industry, and I used it on one of my clients one time, and he was like, "Bro, what the fuck is this? It's burning my face." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Bro, this shit burns." So I wiped it off of him. I put the bottle to the side. I went out just back to my old school shit, grabbed my hot lather, slapped it on him. Because it was just a lineup, you know, on the beard, but it was burning his face.
I bet it smelled awesome, though.
Oh, it smelled amazing. So I put it to the side. And later on, I decided, well, let me look at some of these damn ingredients and see what's going on. And one of the byproducts of one of the ingredients actually comes from gas, which is crazy. You know, so I was like, immediately, I just stopped using that product completely. Like, no way, like, would I even put this, although it's not gas in there, it's just a byproduct, which, you know, a lot of companies use a bunch of byproducts of other things. You know what I mean? But it was crazy to me, and I was glad that he told me. And after that day, that's when I really started, like, really digging into, like, ingredients and things like that for products that I want to use or sell at the shop.
And that affects your clientele, because you know what's going to happen? You're going to use it on everyone and just want
again and clear again. And he started using it on some of the clients, and he's digging it. Do you guys do wholesale for this product? Let's say like if a company wants to buy a couple cases.
Yes.
Okay. And where can they order this from
They can contact us on any of the channels when it comes to Barber Bond, barberbond.com. You can fill out an inquiry request on our website, or any of the socials. You can reach out, DM us, and we'll be able to get the right person to you to negotiate the right terms depending on what size, quantity, and how they want to go about it. But I was gonna go back to that white labeling topic. You know, we were listening to an interview with Seth Godin, and he was talking about how a lot of these hotel chains,
have tennis shoes.
They have all different hotels, but the model is pricing, right? Because you don't, if you stay at a Hilton, if you stay at a Garden Inn, if you stay at, you know, Marriott, what's the difference? If you have the proximity, the logo, right?
They don't have a brand, they have a logo.
If Nike were to open up a hotel,
could you imagine what it looked like inside?
You would know the experience.
Right.
And that's the difference between building a brand and just having a logo and just creating like an opportunity in the marketplace for yourself.
And not to mention, while you guys were building this, the amount of money that you guys have poured into the product.
The investment.
It's a labor of love.
When was your first like official sale that you guys got, that somebody bought a case or two that you were like, wow, that like just blew your mind, that you were like,
we do this?
We do this.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a barber who was really enamored with it for himself and just wanted to offer it in his shop, and said, but you know, I don't go hard at selling products in my shop, so if they don't sell, I'm okay with always having this around. And it was like, wow, we really came up with something that someone in my industry who does exactly what I do, they really fell in love with it.
And they can appreciate it.
And they can appreciate it, and I didn't have to be anyone they knew. We actually met in line at Premiere, my first time at Premiere.
Nice.
I just started talking to the guy, and he was the one that asked, so what are you here for, bro? Are you
beauty of networking.
Are you demoing or something? Or nah, this is actually my first time, bro. I just got my little product in the backpack, and let me show you that.
What year was that?
2018.
Oh, wow.
He went straight to it.
I went straight to it. Premiere was like 2 weeks after I got our first inventory.
Now, I know you're an educator.
I wasn't at that time.
No, I'm just saying, now you're an educator. When you go do your education seminars for the companies that you represent, there's no ill will for you to also have your brand out there, right?
No, usually not. I mean, every time we do Premiere Orlando, we do that with Stylecraft Gamma, where I am an educator and product developer since the very first day, almost.
Oh, okay.
When I first met them and started building that relationship, the Absolute Shaver, the Absolute Zero Shaver, the foil shaver, the very first one,
Yeah, we have it.
that was the only thing in the pipeline. And that they didn't even have that in hand yet, but it was completed and on the way. They had nothing else.
Wow.
With the relationship that was built, they started handing me things, and what do you think of this? What do you think of that?
So you were testing.
And I said, oh, I'm glad you asked. I've been tearing these things apart since I was in 8th grade.
So you've been basically an inventor of sort for a while, you know, working with a company to building your own brand.
Well, yeah, what'd you do with your clippers in high school when they broke? You couldn't go spend 90 on another master. You had to figure out how to rig it.
I came in late to the game.
Okay.
Yeah, I got, I was in my 30s when I actually officially full-fledged went in as a barber.
You know, for me, the first ones that I touched that I had from the first ones I touched weren't those, but I finally bought a pair in 9th grade. And when that thing took a dump, I had to jerry rig it and figure out how to make it work with electrical tape, putting wires back together and hoping I don't zap the homies in my backyard or bathroom. And so I felt like, oh, this is cool. You asked the right one, because I've been tearing these machines apart, and that's where it started with like, hey, this is great. This is, this is dope. This is nope. Maybe you could change this. Maybe you could add this to this machine. Maybe you could
so
do this.
You've been just creating since, and that's amazing. Now you guys are a team, and I know that you do a lot of business stuff. If there is a barber out there that potentially has an idea in his head but doesn't know who to talk to, where to go, where can they find you, and do you offer those type of services to someone that it's looking to create an idea that they have?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to share this. I don't mind sharing this. I'm never gonna tell you exactly who I do it with, but I'm gonna tell you how to find who's right for you, and you can do that with me. It would come at a cost. I mean, everybody, because everybody wants to say, yo, I got to take you to lunch. I really want to pick your brain. Like, do you think food is enough of a price for what's in my brain?
Right.
And so I have my own coaching practice. It's called Solutions by Maya. And you can reach me on my handle at Solutions by Maya on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and also my website is sbmgo.org.
Okay. So now, do you guys plan or have in the works an additional product to Barber Bond? Listen, yeah, because I'm a guy, I like this shave gel, but as like you, I also have a beard. So
we've toyed with the idea.
You've toyed with the idea of adding another product to the Barber Bond family?
It's not such a touchy subject, but it's like, I'm doing the shave because the shave is where my heart is at. I first had to shave myself for real in 9th grade, because I was just
hairy Puerto Ricans, boy.
Yeah, I had heard once you start shaving, it starts growing for real, and I think our parents lied to us. Once that crooked, messed up chin hair started coming in, I was like, all right, I guess I gotta take it off.
The 3 little strands.
And private school in 9th grade wouldn't let you have it either.
So you had no choice but to shave.
By the time I threw in the towel on that, it was true. Once you start cutting that cuticle, it doesn't grow more, it grows coarser.
Right.
And so
I had a real beard.
Also, he was looking to represent the shave brand. The beard came about because he was trying to grow it to make a really cool video how Barber Bond can just shave it all off.
Yeah, not like IG homegrown video. I mean like real production. And I didn't get involved enough with figuring that out, and the beard was getting bigger and bigger and more recognizable. So now it's like
the signature. Like people
it's just
know him.
there. It became I don't know.
That's what happens. You lose the top,
I do this to keep it off my ears. Otherwise, it's out here. It's a bush.
Yeah, I've seen her braiding it up for you.
That's right.
Now, what was it that first time that you used the Barber Bond on yourself, where you was like, I've been using this. Why didn't you tell me this is good? What made you say, why didn't you tell me this was good for me too?
Well, he was initially just thinking about the barbershop. So for him, he didn't realize this was going to be marketed as a men's brand just because of the shave.
Because where do I work? What do I do? I don't shave women. I mean, they're doing that these days.
Well, that's what happens, because us were like this, and a lady's brain is like, she's talking to you, but at the same time, she got 3 conversations going on in her head. Things that got to get done, things that I already did.
If you've ever peeled open a baseball, have you ever looked inside a baseball? That's what a woman's brain looks like. And we look like an IKEA shelf with 6 compartments, and everything is compartmentalized.
Yeah.
So you used it, and what happened? What did you find?
Naturally, soap is it dries your skin out immediately. And on the bikini area, I used to get ingrown hair.
Okay.
And so I started, after using it on multiple occasions, aside from being smooth after the fact, I wasn't getting ingrown hair. And I used to get dark razor burn under my arms. And I guess maybe the castor oil component of it, it cleared that brown, and I felt comfortable raising my arms.
It's so viscous that it doesn't allow the razor to be aggressive. To
Right.
leave
So
the dark area.
from my use, I'll give you my point of view of like when I use the product. Like, it's not super thick, and it's not watery, liquidy thin. Right. It's just like the right amount
of everything.
You know, and
this was the back and forth.
So
Almost got it. Almost. No.
I tried it on a hot towel shave.
Oh.
Cheat code.
So this is what I was doing before. I used it actually. I love my hot lather, but you know, and I know that hot lather dries out quick.
Yeah.
So what I used to do is throw a little bit of shave gel with the hot lather over it. Put the hot
And
towel.
that gives
That's
the client the aesthetic of
Right.
the kind of shave they're
So
paying for.
that's what I was doing. But with some of the other lines, when you use it by itself with a hot towel, take off the hot towel, there's no more
gone.
gel. It's gone. It has evaporated. When I tried this with a hot towel, it was still moisturized, and it wasn't as thick as it is right out the bottle. It's a little thinner, but it didn't dry out by itself, and everything was still gliding, and the hair was actually a lot softer. So for me, it was like, this is like working like a hot lather, but it's not a hot lather. It's actually a gel. And is this why you guys are calling it a serum versus a shave gel?
Because it's just not every shave gel. So it is a little different. He said, I guess it's a serum.
Interesting.
And it's unisex because we were married 10 years, and apparently he didn't know I was shaving.
No. I knew that. I just didn't care
You didn't
with
know
what.
You didn't know.
I didn't think about with what.
Well, it's kind of like, it's kind of like men, when we don't have our shampoo, we're going to use y'all shampoo. So she did the same thing. She was like, I ain't got no more shave gel. I'm
It
using
was
yours.
soap. I went from soap to that. I was like, it's worth a try because, it's clear. So
I could relate. I was so familiar with so many women brands because I grew up with an older sister, and when I started shaving and I didn't have mine or dad's was gone, you know what? I took my sister's Skintimate and I went to school smelling like the girl who sat right next to me.
You probably used her razor too. You was like, man, my razor is done too. Oh, she's got a new one. I'll take it.
Yep.
That's funny.
And then I get screamed on.
yeah,
For being a little brother.
And she thanks me every day for taking him away.
He became your headache.
I wouldn't call it a headache.
Yeah.
Maybe a labor of love.
Sure.
She's sweet, ain't
So, how many? Because I see on you guys' page that some of the female bodybuilders have been using you guys' product too. How'd that come about?
Shout out to Claudia and Violeta, the Help twins. They're IFBB pros. They really do the damn thing. And we gave it to them at the first show we went to in their industry.
Okay.
And they really were impressed.
And I saw it. We attended this show. It was called Miami International Fitness Expo in 2019 because we were doing all this barber activity because naturally Joelle's in the industry. So when we find out what's going on, where it's happening, either a barber battle or some kind of get together with the barbers, and
we would just be there.
Right. But it was his industry, so we always knew about it. And I kept feeling like we needed to figure out how to get into the consumer products arena, but I was still working corporate. So how do I do this? How do I get out there? So we found this great show that was more like an exhibition, because they had so many different things. It wasn't just the bodybuilding and the competing. They had like Ninja Warrior.
They had a Ninja Warrior set up inside the show.
Heavy weightlifting. They had kids activities, and it was like something for the whole family.
Right.
That was the audience that we were hoping to appeal to, because it was the home consumer, someone who shaves at home, and you can have one bottle in the shower and it can be for anyone.
Yeah, shout out Tony Lopez and MIFE.
Yep.
Very nice. What is you guys' ultimate goal for Barber Bond? What is your like ultimate dream of taking Barber Bond?
It really is getting to that home consumer, because you know, we're obviously not only for our industry.
Correct.
This is something for the home, and you know, the end goal. The end goal is the universe unfolds as it should. So will that be that it becomes our job as it grows and really is the what we're doing with our full time, or is it for another entity that is bigger and has the means to move on with it and just leave us with enough to continue creating?
And also, we the goal is that it's something that people recognize that is that shave solution, the shave difference in the household. Right. It's more of a goal, because sometimes people hold on. Everyone tells us, go on Shark Tank, get out there, right? And for us, it's a matter of, there are a lot of people who are suffering in shaving, and nobody talks about it. They're getting burns, they're getting bumps. They maybe avoid the razor because they think that it's anything that's going to make them break out. And they can't feel confident or comfortable to get outside with their skin. And we live in Florida, so for a lot of people, you know, wearing that bikini and feeling confident, and a young person not having to take in all of the ingredients that are in products. So for me, it's more of a mission to get a far reach. And like Joel said, it's not a matter of the sales as much, or the other entity as much of it, as it being the opportunity to get what people need to them. And if we don't have that reach for the impact, then, you know, that's what it was created for. So every time it's been hard, because every business goes through it, where it's like, should we still be doing this? Is this something that like, when it gets really tough? And those are the reasons are why to keep pushing it forward.
Because we've been there, and when we've gotten there, we've invested more.
2018. So that means right at the beginning of Barber Bond, you guys went through COVID. So I know that must have not been easy just getting rolling with the brand. You know, and then we all had the shutdown and things like that, and Barber Bond, and you guys actually survived that craziness. How was that experience?
We had jobs.
Well, but you had to shut the shop
down.
I
had to shut down, and that was a tough time. I was really like on the verge of just giving in to my clients and going to them.
Wow.
But I also felt like, you know, what I'm doing now at this point in my career, I'm a product creator and developer with the company and an educator, so maybe I should be thinking more like the leader instead of I just need to get my money. So I kept my hands clean. I didn't give in.
Yeah, I stayed home the whole time with my kids.
I was Papi homeschool administrator.
Listen, it was
you
two
already
of
know,
us.
huh?
Man, pressure washing the house. I was just finding things to do.
The honey-do list was...
Man, the honey-do list was long with one arm. I broke my collarbone on April Fool's Day 2020. Oh, how was your 2020? It was... That settled me down.
Wow.
That made sure I didn't give in and just go take the money to do my haircuts. And I sat tight, and when we were able to open up again, May 18th in Broward County, I hit the ground running.
All right. So, got a question for each one of you. You guys can answer separately. what is one thing that you would tell, whether it's a barber, a stylist, a consumer, to keep them going?
I hope this keeps you going. But this industry that we're in will give you back everything you put into it if you give it your all. But don't think you're going to cut corners and cheat the industry or cheat your clients. You don't want to cheat yourself. It's just it's been good to me, so it can be good to you. That depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, that's the best thing that I can give. I promise you that this industry will give you everything you want out of it if you give it everything you have. Nice. We didn't have a day off together until we opened a shop, ever. And by that time, our kids were 3 and 1 year old. Oof. That's when we had our first day off together. Wow. And at first I opened up and I did 7 days for a few months. And then I cut it back to 6 days for a few years. And then I decided, to hell with that. We're going to have Sunday family fun day, Monday get what I can done day. And I'm cutting hair Tuesday through Saturday. Get in where you fit in.
Nice. I like that.
So for me, I've gone from a transition from working a corporate level job to getting out on my own, and between Barber Bond and my own coaching practice, having to market and feeling the pressure because you see everyone around you doing it in their way. And all I can encourage is authenticity, because you will try and try and try and you will hit your head against the wall. But until you feel like you can truly be in your own skin and feel comfortable with what you're doing and have your values, live through your values, mine are integrity and impact. And so in everything I do, that's what my goal is. So if you can feel that you are being authentic, and you'll feel the difference. The energy is going to
You know when you're faking.
Well, but a lot of people don't know how else to be, because the environments you grow up in and the people that you're around are usually all you know. And so to really step away and believe in yourself and know that the feeling that you feel is right.
Right.
So I don't go against. If I feel like it's not right, I'm an energy. I feel the energy. So if it doesn't feel right, I kind of try to maneuver between the thoughts of what would feel right so that I can keep pushing along.
So basically be true to yourself at all times.
You know deep down when you full of shit.
No, and we've gotten further that way. Now, I see that. True relationships.
Absolutely, and that's a part of networking in different arenas, not just at the barber battles, not just at the conventions, not just at the premieres. Go out in your own local area and network with local people, because you never know who you could come across and actually benefit the both of you guys.
And it's not selfish. I had to learn that.
Yeah, no.
If you don't ask, you don't get.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you're being manipulative or you're taking advantage.
Correct.
And a lot of people, they don't move forward towards something because they're afraid of how they're going to appear. And you know what? The people who see you in that way, they're not the people for you.
Let's see, it's going back to what you said. In those network events, as long as you're, 100% authentic about what's going on, they're going to see that, because if you're full of shit, they're going to read right through it, and they're not going to want to do business with you. They're not going to want to network. They're not going to want to give you, those tidbits of information that you may need.
Right.
Because they could smell the bullshit.
And before asking, you want to make sure you have an established rapport. And that's something that you learn if you've ever been in sales. The only way that you can be effective at it is to know your audience and know who is going to benefit from what you can offer. So building genuine relationships, being able to connect on a different level. That's how Joel's built his barbershop. A lot of his clients started as clients, but they're friends now. They're
Right.
people that he feels comfortable with. If they can't get a haircut at the shop, we have a barber station at home, and if necessary, or if he goes to them, either way, there are relationships that are developed that aren't just, oh, this is just a barbershop thing.
Okay. Do you guys have any events coming up in the near future where people could actually find you guys, whether it's local or outside, of the state, where they could find you other than, your websites and your social medias?
Yeah.
Any events coming up?
Couple things coming up. September 19th, we'll be at the Fort Pierce Beauty Academy talking to the students.
Okay.
On that same week, Sunday, September 24th, we'll be at the Paul Mitchell School in Fort Myers for an event they've got going on.
All right, my neck of the woods.
Right after that, October 15th and 16th, we'll be at the Salt Lake Beauty and Barber Expo in Salt Lake City, Utah.
All right.
Shout out to Tyler
Kelbert, hell of a guy.
Yeah, didn't he just win a couple awards at the
behind the chair
one shot?
Nice. And November 6th, I'll be at Goldwell of New York in, was that Huntersville or Williamsville, New York?
Okay.
I'll be doing 2 classes, Cosmo Barber Crossover and Clipper Over Comb, I believe.
Nice.
And I'm doing that class on behalf of Gamma Plus and Stylecraft.
Very cool. All right, guys. Well, listen, we're getting ready to wrap this up. Again, I appreciate you guys sharing your story and being here on Barber's Roundtable Podcast and the inception. So for any of you guys watching or listening to this podcast, you're able to pick up the product at, what's your website?
barberbond.com, and you can catch it on Amazon if you're on Prime and you want to order it with the rest of your stuff.
Okay.
You can get it there.
So, right on. And if
Walmart.com too.
And if they need any business help, they could contact you, Maya, at what website?
sbmgo.org.
All right. So once again, guys, thank you all for being here on Barber's Roundtable Podcast. This is episode 7 with Joel and Maya and the beginning of Barber Bond, man. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a good one. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.
Thank you so much.